TikTok artist is getting sued for $850,000 after not clearing a sample, but that sample was from a bought sample pack.
Hey, keep doing your thing. We're going to get a cut either way.
DIY.
DIYers, maybe you've heard this song. I'm going to play a little snippet of it in hopes that we don't get flagged. May have to pitch it down, but check this out.
You don't really want to smoke, you ain't got that shit. I'm cruising down the block with a bad bitch. With my mind on the chips in this, not on my head. Fuck then I did, I'm finna take a trip. Nigga, you icy, I pull up and lay.
If you were on TikTok, I can guarantee you saw content. It was hundreds of thousands, if not millions of content that included this song by Trey Fuego called 9 on My Hip, 9OMH. And that song went supremely viral. Maybe some would argue a little bit too viral. Demiza, who is known to be a program director for a popular West Coast radio station, Power 106, a legendary radio exec, he talked about what happened to Trey Fuego and his song that did go viral, the one I just played for you. In this clip on Instagram, I want to get your reaction to it, because if this is the direction that major labels are going, especially as more artists are independent, it's going to get messy. Peep this out.
TikTok artist is getting sued for $850,000 after not clearing a sample, but that sample was from a bought sample pack.
That's wild.
Did you hear that? Trey Fuego, who we just played that snippet of, the producer.
That's wild.
That song
used a
sample from a bought sample pack from a producer or a sample pack company, and they included a sample that they did not clear or create, obviously, and now Sony is suing that gentleman for $800,000 plus.
So my warning to you is watch the samples, but let me say this. Notice how it got to $850,000 before Sony sued. You know what I'm saying? Look, record companies right now, especially with this algorithm stuff and all that, you know what I'm saying? They want this to happen so that they can swallow it up. So they're going to let these things go a bit. And I guarantee you that this is not like a lawsuit and pay and it gets taken off the internet. Because with copyright infringement, what they're doing is leveraging their asset management. Do you know what I'm saying? Yes, keep it going. But I think the way this will happen is they will use the leverage of the copyright infringement to get their cut.
This is my warning to independent artists, especially those of you that have been watching this content and you know how much I champion being a DIYer, being an independent artist, having your team. Yes, we're in the independent age. We're in the direct-to-consumer age. It is exciting to be a part of this. However, when you choose not to play into their game, I took my music off of streaming some months ago now, and I have not been happier since because of the money that I'm able to generate from my music that I invest so much time, so much sweat, so much of my energy into. But when you choose not to play their game, you must be careful about the way that you conduct your business. They're waiting for you to slip up. Okay, fine. We tried to sign you, an up-and-coming artist. You don't want to sign with us? Fine. Let's see if there's one of our partners or a catalog that we own that you're infringing upon. Because if that's the case, hey, keep doing your thing. We're going to get a cut either way. I mean, honestly, taking the original sample, if you were unsure if it was made by a sample creator, take the sample in its original state, make a video, right? Upload that video to YouTube, and just let it sit unlisted. Just to trace if that sample goes back to an actual person that created this music years and years ago. That would have alleviated the lawsuit that is now going to cost this gentleman $800,000 plus, and whatever that song chooses to do in the future.
So what they're going to do is sue, tell you to keep going, but now it's on Sony Entertainment and you get a regular artist deal. So you'll get your 12%, they'll get their other percent, and who won in the end? You broke a record for them, they made money twice, you made money 12 cents on the dollar.
Sheesh.
This is great. This is classic record company leverage stuff. But watch your samples. Just be careful.
Did not tell you. Did not tell you.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
They're not worried about whether or not you want to sign to them. They know that if you're not going to conduct your business the way that you should, in terms of making sure that all of your I's are dotted, all your T's are crossed.
Okay, so you heard it first. So Sony, a major label, just sued an independent artist from TikTok because that artist used a song that he said he got from a sample pack. And for those that don't know, if you're not in the music industry, a sample pack is a pack of samples that you can buy from like Guitar Center, or you can buy them from websites. And a lot of times those samples should be cleared. So you should have the right to use those samples within your beats without having to pay any extra money, without having to contact the record label. You should be able to buy that pack knowing, with the sound mind of knowing that you're not going to run into any copyright infringement when you buy that pack. So apparently the sample pack that this artist bought, Trey Fuego, had a sample that was not cleared, and Sony owned that sample. And the way that I'm interpreting this story, if somebody knows it to be different, let me know in the chat. But the way I'm interpreting this story is that Sony, or maybe a subsidiary of Sony or a partner of Sony's, tried to sign Trey Fuego. He turned down the deal, and then they saw that through doing some asset management, they saw that his song had a sample in it that they owned anyways, and so they sued him for $800,000 in damages. And one of the things that's really interesting that I wanted to point out, that what Demiza was saying, is that they're not gonna like make him pay $800,000 out of his pocket. They're just gonna say, okay, if you want to keep that song up, if you still want to get value out of that song, then here's your new deal. We're going to own 88% of it. You're going to own 12% of it. And you're going to take a regular song. The deal you turned down, we're going to give you a worse deal than that. And you have to take it because you used this song without our permission. So we're either going to take that song down and make you pay us $800,000, or you're going to sign to the label and take this worse deal, and we're going to take all of the back end of the song. Which is crazy. So, that tells you that a lot of times it depends. I still think it's worth it, because I think that sampling is worth it depending on the goal that you set, right? Like if you set the goal of like, I'm not trying to set my career off of this piece of art. Like I'm really just trying to make content. That's one thing. But if you're trying to like establish yourself as an artist based on art that other people created, it's usually not a great idea to do that. Not only because it puts you in a box, but because let's say you do start to take off, let's say you do start to gain some traction, the people that created the original music, the people that created the music that your music is based off of, then have the right to take all of the value out of that music. And so for you, it's basically a commercial. You don't get any money off of it on the back end, but because it's familiar, people might be a little more open to listening to it and to giving it a shot. So I say all that to say, to circle back to this freestyle trend that's happening right now. I think also in the Latin rap community in Oxnard, there's a really huge like sampling trend that's going on, where they'll, sample familiar beats and kind of make them like G-funk and put them on YouTube, put them on Apple Music and Spotify, and then I see them hate. Then I see a post 2 weeks later that says, "Yo, DistroKid is hating on me because they won't let me keep my freestyle on Apple Music or Spotify." And it's like, they're not hating on you. You don't own any of that music. So if you are building your career and building your audience off of using other people's songs, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself what's more important, I guess. Is it clout, or is it actual growth? Because clout does not always equal growth. Growth is more fans that are willing to spend money on your music, and clout is people who are watching what you're doing but maybe not necessarily engaging with what you're doing. And they're sharing it to other people saying, hey, have you seen this? But after that action, there's really nothing happening. And so, and I don't think there's a wrong one. I don't think there's a wrong path. But if you want clout, know that you're probably not going to have true growth or sustainability most of the time. There are like outliers. There are extenuating circumstances, and some people are just so talented that it doesn't matter. But for the most part, if you go the clout path, you're not going to see growth, and it's not going to be sustainable, and you're going to be pigeonholed into that box. So I think 805 rappers should be very careful about freestyling on all of these very popular beats and then uploading them to Apple Music and Spotify and all that shit, because at the end of the day, like, they're not your songs. You know what I'm saying? Uno says, where's the songs? And I think that's another thing too, just like artistically, like as a fan of hip hop, I don't really give a shit if you can freestyle or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's cool, but at the end of the day, like, are your songs hot? Are your records hot? Like, that's what's important to me. So I think this freestyle shit is trendy. I think it's cool and it serves its purpose. There's nothing wrong with it, but you can't say that DistroKid is hating on you because they don't want you to upload music that you don't own. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that's not hate. That's just business. And y'all should understand that. Cool. So let's get into the countdown then. I'm going to play one more video just so I can log in and get the results. And then we'll get into the countdown. You have 2 minutes to cast your vote. 2 minutes to cast your vote. By the time I come back from this video, the voting will be closed. So tell your peoples. Let's go. CTC Radio, the only radio station committed to the coast. John Mercado says, I am a man who appreciates originality 100%. Yeah, I think that, again, like, there's different types of listeners. I prefer the listeners that appreciate the originality. Some people don't care about that. Some people are like, I got to get it by any means necessary. So if I gotta steal, scrape, beg, and borrow, that's what I'm gonna do. And that's, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. That's just not my path. Let's go with this joint. The name Uno. I'm not sure what song this is.